Your cat is begging you to watch this video. Scientists just discovered that 9 out of 10 cat owners are accidentally creating trauma every single day without even realizing it. The mistakes you're making right now have been linked to shortened lifespans, destructive behavior, and even long-term psychological damage. And here's the shocking part. These mistakes feel like the most loving things you could do. What I'm about to reveal could be the difference between a happy, confident cat and one living in silent daily torment. So let's dive into the 20 deadly mistakes that are secretly torturing your cat every time you leave the house, feed them, or even show them affection. Mistake 20. The overdramatic goodbye ritual. This mistake feels so loving, but it's secretly destroying your cat's sense of security. You're about to walk out the door, and you can't resist. You scoop them up, kiss them, talk in a sad baby voice, and repeat, "I'll miss you so much." Maybe you even run back for one last hug. It feels like love, but feline behaviorists warn this is actually creating trauma. Here's the shocking truth. Cats are emotional sponges. They read your tone, your body language, even your stress hormones to decide how to feel. When you act like leaving is a tragedy, their brain interprets it as, "Oh no, something terrible is happening. I should panic too." Dr. Sarah Ellis, one of the leading experts in feline psychology, discovered that cats with owners who dramatize departures showed dramatically higher stress behaviors, crying at the door, pacing, destructive scratching, and even refusing food. Their cortisol levels spike, putting their entire nervous system into survival mode. And the heartbreaking part? They don't grow out of it. Each dramatic goodbye conditions them to see your leaving as dangerous. Over time, it wires their brain to expect abandonment every single day. So what's the life-changing solution? Make leaving boring. Absolutely boring. No sad voices, no extra cuddles, no dramatic ceremonies. Just move around normally, grab your keys, and walk out. Act like leaving is the most ordinary thing in the world, and your cat will learn to see it that way too. Professional trainers call this neutral departure conditioning. Within weeks, cats become calmer, more independent, and less anxious when left alone. The truth is simple. Your cat doesn't need a farewell speech. They need stability. And the most loving thing you can do is to make goodbye the most unremarkable part of their day. Mistake 19. The food bowl bomb. This mistake feels like love, but it's one of the deadliest traps cat owners fall into. You're rushing out the door, and you don't want your cat to go hungry. So you fill their bowl to the brim with an endless mountain of kibble, thinking, better too much than not enough. But here's the shocking truth. Feline nutritionists warn that free feeding is silently killing millions of cats every year. Why? Because cats were never designed to graze. Their wild ancestors survived on small, frequent hunting kills. A mouse here, a bird there, always earned through stalking and pouncing. Their bodies evolved for lean protein, followed by long rest. They were never meant to shovel unlimited calories all day. When you free feed, their primal survival brain takes over. They gorge. They eat even when they're not hungry. And the results are devastating. Obesity, diabetes, liver disease, and shortened lifespans. Studies from the American Association of Feline Practitioners show that cats with constant access to food are twice as likely to die younger than cats fed structured meals. And here's the heartbreaking part. You think you're showing kindness, but you're actually fueling disease. So what's the life-saving solution? Structure. 2 to 3 measured meals per day. Even better, use puzzle feeders and treat dispensing toys that mimic the hunting experience. Hide small portions around the house so they can hunt their food throughout the day. This not only prevents overeating, it provides vital mental stimulation that fights boredom and anxiety. Professional feline behaviorists call this foraging enrichment, and it transforms your cat's health and happiness in weeks. The truth is simple. An endless bowl of kibble is not love. It's a ticking time bomb. Real love means protecting your cat's health by feeding them the way nature intended. Mistake 18. The morning rush disaster. This mistake is so common, yet so destructive. Your alarm goes off, you hit snooze 3 times, and suddenly you're late. You rush out of bed, spill coffee, throw clothes on, and dash for the door. Sound familiar? Here's the shocking truth. Your cat is watching every second of this chaos, and it's rewriting their brain chemistry. Cats are emotional mirrors. They may seem aloof, But research from the University of Lincoln shows they absorb human stress like sponges. When your morning energy is frantic and disorganized, their nervous system interprets it as danger. Their survival instincts kick in. If my human is panicked, something is wrong. I need to be on high alert. And the consequences are devastating. Veterinary behaviorists have measured cats' cortisol levels, the hormone that floods the body during stress, and they spike dramatically when owners rush out in chaos. Elevated cortisol doesn't just cause anxiety. It weakens the immune system, disrupts digestion, and shortens lifespan. The heartbreaking part? Your cat stays in this heightened state long after you've left. While you're at work, they're pacing, over-grooming, scratching, or hiding, burning through stress energy they should never have had to carry. So what's the solution? Structure and calm. Wake up 20 minutes earlier. Move through your routine with steady, predictable actions. Most importantly, give your cat a few minutes of focused play before you leave. A session with a feather wand or laser pointer taps into their hunting instincts, burns excess energy, and replaces anxiety with calm satisfaction. Behaviorists call this pre-departure enrichment. A cat who hunts and plays before you leave is a cat who spends the day resting, not panicking. The truth is simple. Your cat doesn't need your chaos. They need your calm. And a calm morning could be the difference between a stressed cat and a peaceful one. Mistake 17. The homecoming hysteria. This mistake feels loving, but it's one of the fastest ways to build anxiety in your cat. You walk through the door after a long day, and your cat rushes to greet you. Tail up, meowing, maybe even pawing at your legs. Your natural instinct? Scoop them up, shower them with kisses, and make a huge deal about how much you missed them. It feels like bonding. But feline behaviorists warn it's actually fueling separation anxiety. Here's the shocking truth. When you reward that frantic greeting with massive attention, you're teaching your cat that your absence is a tragedy worth panicking about. You're reinforcing their belief that being apart from you is a crisis. Dr. Rachel Casey, a leading veterinary behaviorist, found that cats who experience exaggerated reunions show dramatically higher stress markers compared to cats whose owners return calmly. Their nervous system gets locked into a cycle of anticipation, panic, relief, panic again. Over time, the highs and lows of this roller coaster erode their emotional stability. And the heartbreaking part? What you think is love is actually rewarding their fear. Each time you celebrate their hysteria, you wire their brain to expect panic every time you leave. So what's the solution? Exactly the opposite of what feels natural. When you walk in, ignore them for the first 5 minutes. No eye contact, no touching, no talking. Wait until they settle into a calm, relaxed state, and then offer gentle affection. Behaviorists call this calm reinforcement training, and it's been shown to reduce separation anxiety by over 80% in just weeks. Your cat learns that peace, not panic, earns attention. The truth is simple. Dramatic reunions feel good to you, but they're toxic for your cat. Calm returns create calm cats. And that's the real gift of love. Mistake 16. The punishment trap. This mistake is one of the most heartbreaking, and almost every cat owner has done it. You come home to shredded furniture, knocked over plants, or litter scattered across the floor. Your first instinct? To yell. Maybe you clap your hands, spray water, or scold them with "bad cat," thinking you're teaching a lesson. But here's the shocking truth. Feline behaviorists warn that punishment doesn't fix the problem, it multiplies it. Why? Because cats don't connect punishment with the action unless it happens in the exact moment. When you yell minutes, or even seconds, after the behavior, their brain doesn't process, "I did something wrong." Instead, it processes, "My human is scary when they come near me." Dr. Ilona Rodden, a leading feline behavior expert, found that punishment-based households have cats with dramatically higher rates of chronic stress, hiding, and aggression. Their cortisol levels spike, and their trust in their owners plummets. Instead of learning not to scratch the couch or jump on counters, they simply learn to fear you. And the most heartbreaking part? The behavior you're punishing is usually a symptom of unmet needs. Scratching, climbing, knocking things down, these aren't acts of rebellion. They're survival behaviors. They're your cat's desperate attempt to self-soothe, explore, or release pent-up energy. So what's the life-changing solution? Replace punishment with redirection. Provide scratching posts instead of yelling at claws. Offer climbing shelves instead of screaming about countertops. Play with them to burn energy instead of punishing bad behavior. And if they make a mess, clean it silently. Then address the root cause, not the symptom. The truth is simple. Punishment doesn't create obedience. It creates fear. Real love means guiding your cat toward healthy outlets, not terrifying them into silence. Trust is everything, and once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Mistake 15, the toy desert. This mistake looks harmless, but it's actually cruel. You tidy up your house before leaving, sweeping toys into a basket, hiding scratching posts in the corner, making everything look picture perfect. It feels clean. It feels organized. But for your cat, it's a mental prison. Here's the shocking truth. Cats need constant stimulation to stay healthy. Without toys, scratching posts, or enrichment, their day becomes 8 long hours of boredom. And boredom, for cats, isn't neutral, it's torture. Dr. Mikel Delgado, a feline behavior researcher at UC Davis, discovered that cats without regular mental stimulation show significantly higher rates of stress, obesity, and destructive behavior. Why? Because boredom triggers a vicious cycle. No stimulation means anxiety. Anxiety drives overeating. Overeating causes sluggishness and health decline. The cycle repeats, spiraling your cat into a state of physical and psychological deterioration. And the heartbreaking part? They don't just get bored. They suffer. They overgroom until bald spots appear. They scratch furniture out of frustration. They pace, cry, or even sink into depression-like withdrawal. All because their world is empty. So what's the solution? Transform your home into a playground. Scatter toys before you leave. Rotate them daily so each feels new and exciting. Add puzzle feeders and treat dispensing balls to engage their hunting brain. Hide treats around the house so every day becomes a treasure hunt. And don't forget scratching posts and climbing towers, vital outlets for their energy and instincts. Behaviorists call this environmental enrichment, and it's the difference between a stressed, destructive cat and a calm, fulfilled one. The truth is simple. A clean, toy-free home may look good to you, but it's a nightmare to your cat. Love means giving them stimulation, not solitary confinement. And with just a few toys, you can turn torture into joy. Mistake 14, the safe space horror. This mistake is invisible, but it's one of the most damaging. You think your cat has the whole house to themselves, so of course they're comfortable. But here's the shocking truth. Without a safe, den-like retreat, your cat may be living in a state of constant panic. Cats are both predators and prey. That dual role hardwired their brains to always need an escape route. In the wild, when stress or danger appeared, they darted into burrows, caves, or dense trees. Safety meant survival. But in your home, if there's no designated hiding spot, their brain perceives every loud sound, every visitor, every vacuum cleaner as an inescapable threat. And here's the terrifying part. Studies in animal behavior by Dr. Temple Grandin show that animals without safe retreats experience the same brain activity patterns as humans during full-blown panic attacks. Elevated heart rates, spiked cortisol, frantic pacing, self-destructive coping behaviors like over-grooming, chewing, or hiding under furniture in desperation. The heartbreaking reality? These cats aren't shy or antisocial. They're traumatized, with no safe way to self-regulate. So what's the life-saving solution? Create a sanctuary. It doesn't have to be complicated. A covered cat bed tucked into a corner. A cardboard box with a blanket and a favorite toy. A cozy crate, or even a space under a table draped with fabric. The key is consistency. A spot that is always theirs, always safe, always available. Feline behaviorists call this choice-based retreating. Cats with access to secure hiding places show 70% lower stress markers and recover from anxiety episodes dramatically faster. The truth is simple. Freedom without refuge isn't real freedom. Your cat doesn't need a mansion, they need a sanctuary. And giving them one could mean the difference between daily panic and peaceful security. Mistake 13, the darkness trap. This mistake feels kind, but it's secretly one of the cruelest. You close the blinds, shut the curtains, and leave your cat in complete darkness, thinking they'll nap peacefully all day. But here's the shocking truth. What you're actually creating is sensory deprivation that spirals into stress, anxiety, and even depression. Cats aren't meant to live in pitch-black silence. In the wild, their survival depended on constant environmental cues, watching movement, listening for rustles, scanning for changes. When you cut them off from natural light and outside stimulation, you rob them of the signals their brain evolved to need. And the science is chilling. Research from Dr. Stanley Coren shows that visual stimulation, like watching birds, leaves, and people outside, regulates serotonin, the happiness hormone, in both cats and dogs. Without it, their internal rhythms get disrupted. Their sleep cycles fracture. Their mood plummets. Cats left in dark environments for long hours show elevated cortisol levels, depression-like symptoms, and destructive coping behaviors like scratching and overeating. Imagine being locked in a windowless room for 8 hours every single day. No sense of time. No sense of the world outside. That's what your cat experiences when you think you're giving them peace. The fix costs nothing but changes everything. Open the curtains. Give them a window perch. Let them watch life unfold outside. Birds flying, neighbors walking, trees swaying. Even filtered sunlight helps regulate their internal clock and stabilizes mood. Here's the beautiful truth. Natural light equals balance. Visual stimulation equals engagement. And engagement equals peace of mind. Your cat doesn't just want a nap. They want to feel connected to the world around them. Leave the blinds open, and you'll leave them happier, calmer, and healthier every single day. Mistake 12. The sound nightmare. This mistake feels thoughtful, but it's secretly torment. You leave the TV or radio on for company, convinced the background noise will soothe your cat. But here's the shocking reality. Random programming can expose them to a nonstop soundtrack of terror. Think about it. You put on a nice channel in the morning. A few hours later, it switches to a shouting news anchor, blaring sirens, or even a horror movie with gunshots and screaming. Now picture your cat, hearing 4 times sharper than yours, trapped inside, with no way to escape the chaos. What feels like harmless noise to you is a sensory assault to them, and the science confirms it. Dr. Deborah Wells' groundbreaking studies on animal audio therapy reveal that unpredictable, jarring sounds spike cortisol levels by up to 300%. That means your attempt to comfort them could be flooding their body with stress hormones all day long. Chronic stress doesn't just affect mood. It weakens their immune system, disrupts digestion, and shortens their lifespan. The heartbreaking truth? Your cat isn't comforted. They're enduring hours of invisible torture. So what's the solution? Control the soundscape. Instead of random TV or radio, use a curated playlist of calm, consistent music. Think soft classical, gentle nature sounds, or specially designed cat relaxation tracks. Even better, many feline behaviorists recommend peaceful silence as the safest option of all. Predictability is key. When your cat knows the auditory environment won't suddenly explode with chaos, their nervous system stays balanced, and they can truly rest. The bottom line, background noise doesn't equal comfort. It often equals chaos. Give your cat predictable calm, not a roller coaster of random terror. One small change could turn their lonely hours from stressful survival into peaceful recovery. Mistake 11. The sudden abandonment shock. This mistake breaks more feline hearts than you realize. You spend every waking moment showering your cat with love, snuggles on the couch, playtime on demand, constant attention. But then, out of nowhere, you leave them alone for 8 hours straight. No preparation, no warning, just sudden silence. Here's the shocking truth. This isn't harmless. It's trauma. Cats, especially kittens, thrive on routine and gradual transitions. When they go from always together to sudden isolation, their brain interprets it as abandonment. Veterinary behaviorists call this sudden separation shock, and studies show it can rewire a young cat's developing brain toward lifelong anxiety disorders. Elevated cortisol, frantic pacing, excessive meowing, destructive coping behaviors like clawing furniture, over-grooming, or even self-harm. The heartbreaking reality? These behaviors aren't bad or naughty. They're survival responses. Your cat is screaming for comfort in the only language they know. And each unprepared separation teaches them that your absence equals danger. But there's hope. The solution is patience and preparation. Behaviorists recommend systematic desensitization. Start small. Leave for 5 minutes, then return calmly. Build to 15, then 30, gradually increasing the time apart. Use a consistent verbal cue, like, "I'll be back," so your cat learns your departures always come with guaranteed returns. Dr. Karen Pryor's research shows this simple training prevents nearly 95% of separation-related anxiety. Kittens raised with gradual independence grow into confident, secure adults. Here's the truth most cat parents miss. Abandonment trauma isn't created by leaving. It's created by leaving without preparation. Take the time to condition their trust, and you'll raise a cat who can handle solitude with grace instead of panic. What feels like patience for you is safety for them. Mistake 10. The time chaos disaster. This mistake slips under the radar, but it's one of the most stressful things you can do to your cat. You think it doesn't matter if you feed them at 6 a.m. one day and 11 a.m. the next, or if you leave at noon today and 8 a.m. tomorrow. But here's the shocking truth. Cats are masters of time, and your unpredictable routine is driving them into silent panic. Animal chronobiologists have discovered that cats possess internal clocks so precise they can anticipate mealtimes, playtimes, and even your return home to the minute. In the wild, this ability helps them predict prey cycles and survival patterns. In your home, it means they rely on your consistency as the anchor of their world. But when that anchor shifts constantly, their brain shifts into hypervigilance mode. They spend hours perched by the door, ears flicking at every sound, eyes darting to every shadow, waiting for you. Not resting, not relaxing, just waiting. The science is devastating. Dr. William Timberlake's research shows that animals with consistent routines display up to 90% fewer stress-related behaviors. Meanwhile, cats subjected to random, unpredictable schedules remain on edge. Higher cortisol, restless pacing, destructive scratching, and compulsive grooming. This isn't just stress. Chronic unpredictability literally shortens their lifespan. The solution is simple but powerful. Give them rhythm. Try to leave and return around the same times daily. Feed them on a steady schedule. Even small rituals, like always offering a treat before you walk out the door, create a sense of security that lets their nervous system relax. Here's the truth. Chaos in your schedule equals chaos in their brain. Routine equals safety. And safety equals a calmer, healthier, happier cat who finally feels secure in your absence. Mistake 9. The cry it out myth. This mistake is handed out as common advice, but it's quietly destroying your cat's trust in you. You've heard it before. Just let them meow it out. Don't give in. They'll get over it. But here's the shocking truth. Ignoring your cat's distress calls doesn't make them stronger. It makes them hopeless. Cats vocalize for a reason. When you leave and they cry at the door, they're not being dramatic. They're calling out for reassurance the same way kittens call for their mother. And when those calls are ignored, their brain doesn't toughen up. Instead, it spirals into panic. Dr. Patricia McConnell's groundbreaking research on animal behavior proves that unacknowledged distress calls create something called learned helplessness. That's when an animal realizes no matter what they do, nothing changes. Their cries don't bring safety. Their stress doesn't bring comfort. So they stop trying, while their internal stress levels skyrocket. The outside may look calmer, but inside, their nervous system is on fire. The heartbreaking result? A cat who seems quiet or independent may actually be living in silent anxiety, stripped of trust that their needs will ever be met. The solution flips the myth on its head. If your cat cries when you leave, don't punish or ignore them. Instead, return calmly, without drama, without fanfare. Wait until they relax, then try leaving again. Pair departures with positive distractions, a puzzle feeder, a long-lasting treat, or their favorite toy. This teaches them that your absence isn't abandonment. It's manageable, even rewarding. Here's the truth. Ignoring cries doesn't build resilience. It builds despair. Comfort builds confidence. And confidence builds the kind of trust that keeps your cat emotionally healthy for life. Mistake 8. The litter box horror. This mistake seems minor, but it's one of the most common ways cat owners unknowingly traumatize their pets. You think one box is enough, or that scooping twice a week is fine. You place the litter box in a quiet corner, or even in the laundry room. It seems harmless. But here's the shocking truth. Improper litter box setup is a major source of stress, health issues, and lifelong bathroom problems for cats. Cats are meticulously clean animals. In the wild, Eliminating in the wrong spot can attract predators. Their instincts demand privacy, cleanliness, and accessibility. When you fail to meet these needs, it's interpreted as a constant threat. Stress hormones rise, anxiety builds, and even once your cat has left the wild behind, these instincts remain, wired into every fiber of their being. Veterinary behaviorists report that cats with inadequate litter setups are far more likely to develop inappropriate elimination behaviors, urinary tract infections, and chronic stress-related disorders. Dr. Rachel Casey's research shows that litter box problems aren't laziness or spite. They're a direct response to environmental failure. So what's the solution? Follow the one box per cat, plus one rule. Scoop at least once a day, if not twice. Place boxes in quiet, low-traffic areas, and avoid corners with loud appliances or obstacles. Experiment with different types of litter to find what your cat prefers, and never punish accidents. They're a symptom, not rebellion. Behaviorists call this litter box enrichment, and it transforms stress into comfort. A cat with the right box setup eliminates normally, relaxes, and thrives. The truth is simple. A neglected litter box is more than an inconvenience. It's a source of chronic trauma. Real love means providing a safe, clean, and accessible space for your cat to do what comes naturally. Your cat's mental and physical health depends on it. Mistake 7. The water bowl mistake. This mistake seems harmless, but it's quietly hurting your cat every single day. You place a bowl of water in the corner, filled once in the morning, thinking your cat will sip as needed. It looks simple, easy, and enough. But here's the shocking truth. Most cats are chronically underhydrated, and that mild dehydration is silently destroying their kidneys, urinary tract, and overall health. Cats evolved from desert-dwelling ancestors. Their bodies are incredibly efficient at conserving water. In the wild, they obtain most of their hydration from prey, not streams or ponds. This means that in a domestic environment, a stagnant bowl of water is often ignored, leaving them dangerously underhydrated without anyone realizing it. And the consequences are serious. Veterinary research shows that even mild, chronic dehydration increases the risk of kidney disease, urinary blockages, and life-threatening urinary tract infections. Over time, this stress shortens their lifespan, reduces energy, and even contributes to anxiety and irritability. The heartbreaking part? You're trying to care for them, but conventional, just a bowl in the corner, thinking doesn't meet their evolved needs. So what's the life-changing solution? Offer multiple water sources in different locations. Use shallow bowls or wide dishes that are easy to drink from. Many cats prefer flowing water. Consider a pet fountain that keeps water moving, fresh, and appealing. Even adding wet food meals regularly boosts hydration significantly. Feline nutritionists call this hydration enrichment, and it dramatically improves kidney function, urinary health, and mental well-being. The truth is simple. A neglected water source is more than an oversight. It's a silent health crisis. Real love means giving your cat water the way their body actually needs it. A few small changes can prevent chronic disease, anxiety, and even premature death. Mistake 6. The forced affection trap. This mistake is one of the most common ways well-meaning cat owners create anxiety in their pets. You think you're showing love, scooping them up, hugging them, rubbing their belly, or holding them even when they clearly want space. To you, it's affection. To your cat, it's a silent message. I can't control my environment. My boundaries don't matter. Here's the shocking truth. Cats are deeply territorial and value control over their personal space. When you force affection on them, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Heart rate spikes. Stress hormones surge. Behaviorists report that forced handling increases signs of chronic anxiety, avoidance behaviors, and even aggression. The heartbreaking reality? These cats aren't standoffish or cold. They're communicating boundaries, just like they would in the wild. Ignoring these cues teaches them that their signals are meaningless, and their world becomes unpredictable and unsafe. Dr. Sophia Yin's research in feline behavior shows that cats who experience repeated forced affection display elevated cortisol levels, avoid social interaction, and develop long-term mistrust of their owners. So what's the solution? Respect their signals. Let them approach you first. Offer gentle petting only when they initiate contact. Use interactive play to bond, rather than physical restraint. Give them choice over when and how they receive affection. It empowers them and reduces anxiety. Behaviorists call this choice-based bonding, and it transforms relationships. Cats who control their interactions are calmer, more confident, and deeply affectionate on their own terms. The truth is simple. Love isn't forcing contact. Love is respecting boundaries. When you honor your cat's autonomy, you replace stress with trust and create a bond that's stronger, calmer, and lifelong. Mistake 5. The rough play disaster. This mistake feels harmless, even fun. You grab your cat and start wrestling with your hands, or use fingers as toys for a quick game of chase. It seems playful, cute even. But here's the shocking truth. Every time you play this way, you're teaching your cat that biting and scratching human skin is acceptable. Cats learn through association. When your hand becomes a moving prey, they naturally pounce, scratch, and bite. What feels like innocent play to you becomes a hardwired habit in their brain. Over time, the behavior escalates. What started as playful nips turns into aggressive attacks, often when they're overstimulated, anxious, or just testing boundaries. The consequences aren't just minor scratches. Veterinary behaviorists report that cats trained to use hands as toys are far more likely to injure family members, become fearful of punishment, and develop trust issues. Dr. Sophia Yin's research shows that early rough hand play correlates with higher aggression markers in adult cats, making socialization and training exponentially harder. The heartbreaking reality? Your cat isn't being bad or naughty. They're acting on instinct, reinforced by years of unintentional training. So what's the solution? Use appropriate toys. Wand toys, laser pointers, and interactive balls redirect hunting instincts away from your hands. Teach gentle play early, reward non-aggressive interaction, and always in sessions before overstimulation sets in. Behaviorists call this prey simulation play, and it transforms natural instincts into safe, fun outlets. Your cat can chase, pounce, and hunt, all without putting anyone at risk. The truth is simple. Your hands are not toys. Play responsibly, and you'll prevent aggression, build trust, and give your cat the mental and physical stimulation they crave, all while keeping everyone safe. Mistake 4. The carrier terror. This mistake is almost universal, and it terrifies cats. You leave the carrier tucked away in a closet or corner, only pulling it out when it's time for a vet visit. To you, it's convenient. To your cat, it's a nightmare box of doom. Here's the shocking truth. Cats are masters of association. When the carrier only appears for stressful trips, shots, exams, or car rides, they link the box with fear. Every time it emerges, their heart races, muscles tense, and panic floods their system. Behavioral studies show that cats can develop extreme carrier-related anxiety that makes transport nearly impossible. Some freeze, others thrash or attempt to escape, and many develop lifelong dread of the very thing meant to keep them safe. And the heartbreaking part? This isn't stubbornness or temperament. It's trauma. Repeated exposure to the carrier as a signal of stress literally wires their brain to expect danger. Even calm cats can spiral into full-blown panic in seconds. So what's the solution? Desensitize the carrier. Keep it out in an accessible area, open and inviting. Line it with soft blankets, add treats, and allow your cat to explore it at their own pace. Turn it into a positive space rather than a signal of fear. Short, stress-free sessions inside the carrier, followed by rewards, help your cat associate it with safety and comfort. Behaviorists call this carrier conditioning, and it transforms a once-dreaded object into a secure retreat. Cats learn that the carrier is not a threat. It's a familiar, calm, and even enjoyable space. The truth is simple. Carriers aren't evil, but the way we introduce them often is. With consistent, gentle preparation, you can eliminate panic, protect your cat's mental health, and make trips, even to the vet, stress-free. Mistake 3. The plant poison trap. This mistake hides in plain sight, often disguised as beauty. You bring fresh flowers or display lush houseplants around your home, thinking they'll brighten your space. But here's the shocking truth. Many common plants, like lilies, philodendrons, pothos, and even Dieffenbachia, are deadly to cats. Cats are curious by nature. They nibble, paw, and investigate their environment. A single bite of a toxic plant can trigger vomiting, diarrhea, drooling, or extreme lethargy. In some cases, ingestion is fatal, especially with lilies, which can cause irreversible kidney failure in cats. And here's the heartbreaking part. Most owners don't realize the danger until it's too late. By the time symptoms appear, the damage is already done. Veterinary toxicology reports show that thousands of cats are admitted to emergency clinics each year for plant-related poisoning. The irony? Your home, meant to be a safe sanctuary, becomes a deadly trap. Cats don't know which leaves are safe. They rely entirely on you to protect them. So what's the solution? Remove all known toxic plants from your home. Replace them with cat-safe alternatives like spider plants, Boston ferns, or catgrass. If you must keep a plant that's mildly toxic, ensure it's completely out of reach. High shelves, hanging baskets, or enclosed terrariums. Even then, supervision is key. Behaviorists call this environmental safety management, and it's critical for preventing accidental poisoning. A safe home isn't just about comfort, it's about life and death. The truth is simple. What looks harmless can be fatal. Real love means knowing which plants are dangerous and protecting your cat before curiosity turns deadly. Your vigilance can literally save their life. Mistake 2. The windowless prison. This mistake looks innocent, but it quietly torments your cat. You close the curtains, shut them in a back room, or confine them to areas without windows, thinking they'll rest peacefully. It seems harmless, maybe even peaceful. But here's the shocking truth. By denying them visual access to the outside world, you're stealing one of the most vital sources of mental enrichment your cat can have. Cats are naturally alert predators. Their brains evolved to watch, analyze, and respond to movement in their environment. Birds flying, leaves swaying, neighbors walking by. All of these are crucial forms of stimulation. Without it, their environment becomes barren, their minds underchallenged, and stress begins to build. Chronic boredom and sensory deprivation elevate cortisol levels, creating anxiety, depression, and even destructive behaviors like overgrooming, pacing, or compulsive scratching. Veterinary behaviorists report that cats confined to windowless rooms display significantly higher stress markers than cats who can observe the outside world. And the heartbreaking part? They don't just get bored, they suffer silently. Their brains expect engagement, and when it's denied, it's equivalent to isolation in a sensory vacuum. So what's the solution? Open the curtains. Give your cat access to window perches or secure ledges where they can watch life unfold. Even short bursts of visual stimulation help regulate their circadian rhythms, boost serotonin levels, and reduce anxiety. Rotate perches or add bird feeders outside for extra enrichment. Behaviorists call this environmental engagement, and it transforms stress into mental stimulation. The truth is simple. A closed-off room may feel quiet to you, but to your cat, it's a prison. Exposure to the outside world isn't optional, it's essential. Open the curtains, and you open a pathway to calm, curiosity, and psychological well-being. Mistake 1. The independent lie. This mistake is deceptively common, and it quietly harms millions of cats every day. You've heard it before. Cats are independent. They don't need constant attention. You leave them alone, thinking they're fine, imagining they're perfectly content napping in silence. But here's the shocking truth. This is one of the cruelest myths in cat ownership. Cats may appear aloof, but their brains are wired for social connection, mental stimulation, and consistent interaction with trusted humans. When you ignore these needs, it isn't neutrality, it's deprivation. Over time, a cat who receives minimal engagement develops stress, anxiety, and even depression-like behaviors. Behavioral studies reveal that socially neglected cats display pacing, excessive grooming, and destructive scratching as signs of unmet emotional needs. And the heartbreaking part? Many owners don't realize they're causing harm because cats are masters of masking distress. They may sit silently, seeming independent, but their stress hormones are elevated, their brains are underchallenged, and their emotional bond with you weakens. The solution is deceptively simple: daily interaction. Play with them every day using wand toys, laser pointers, or puzzle feeders. Offer gentle petting sessions on their terms, and spend time in their presence, engaging their curiosity. Bonding is not optional, it's essential for their mental health. Veterinary behaviorists call this active enrichment, and it transforms solitary cats into confident, relaxed, and affectionate companions. A cat that receives regular stimulation and social interaction is calmer, healthier, and far less likely to develop destructive behaviors. The truth is simple. Cats are not low maintenance. They need attention, play, and bonding just as much as any dog or child for emotional well-being. Ignoring this need may seem convenient, but it quietly damages their mental health. True love for a cat means showing up every day,